Ukraine's aviation has undergone a transformation that had no parallel in modern military history. The country inherited one of the largest air fleets in the world and lost most of it before 2022 through lack of funding, spare parts, and political will to invest in the military. What remained? Fought. What was missing, allies gradually replaced. And where neither was available, drones appeared that nobody planned for and that changed the nature of warfare more than any other system. MiG-29. In 1991, Ukraine inherited over 200 of these aircraft following the collapse of the Soviet Union. The jet reaches speeds of up to 2,450 kilometers per hour and is armed with R-73 and R-60 missiles for close-range air combat. By 2022, most of the fleet was grounded due to spare parts shortages and chronic underfunding. After the start of the full-scale invasion, Poland and Slovakia transferred additional aircraft from their own stocks. Some jets were adapted to carry American AGM-88 HARM anti-radiation missiles, weapons that home directly onto the radio emissions of enemy air defense systems and destroy them. In practice, the MiG-29 became a hunter of air defense systems, a role it was never designed for. The fact that an aircraft scheduled for retirement in the 1990s is still being adapted for new weapons and sent into combat says a great deal about the real state of Ukrainian aviation and about how critical the transfer of modern Western jets truly is. After the Soviet collapse, Ukraine received approximately 70 Su-27s, at the time one of the most powerful fighters in the world, capable of reaching speeds of 2,500 kilometers per hour and operating up to 1,500 kilometers from base. Armed with R-27, R-73, and R-60 missiles and a 30mm cannon. In the conditions of full-scale war, the Su-27 performs one of the most important and most dangerous tasks, intercepting cruise missiles and loitering munitions that Russia uses en masse against civilian infrastructure. A pilot is effectively going on intercept while the enemy simultaneously launches dozens of targets from different directions and altitudes. Losses among Su-27s since the start of the full-scale invasion have been significant, and there is nothing to replace these aircraft with in the near term, which makes every surviving airframe strategically valuable. Su-24M. The Su-24M is a frontline bomber developed during the Soviet era with a variable sweep wing that gives the aircraft different flight characteristics depending on the mode of operation. It can carry up to 8,000 kilograms of ordnance and operate up to 560 kilometers deep from the front line. The Su-24M became the carrier for British Storm Shadow and French Scalp cruise missiles after Allies agreed to transfer them. Integrating NATO weapons onto a Soviet platform without ready documentation and without any precedent took months of intensive engineering work. The result proved strategically significant. Ukraine gained the ability to strike targets over 250 kilometers away, including infrastructure in Crimea, ammunition depots, and command posts deep in enemy rear. This is an example of how the right technical decision can completely transform operational capability, even on an outdated platform. The Su-25 is a ground attack aircraft designed for direct close air support of troops on the battlefield. Its job means low altitudes, slow speeds, and constant exposure to enemy air defenses. The armored structure protects the pilot and critical systems from small arms fire and fragmentation. Armament includes a 30mm cannon, unguided S-8 rockets, and guided Kh-25ML missiles. The standard tactic involves a rapid attack run, weapons release, and immediate low-altitude egress to avoid being hit.
The Su-27 has suffered the heaviest losses of any aircraft type in Ukrainian aviation, precisely because of the nature of operating in areas where any soldier with a man-portable air defense system is a real threat. Despite this, the aircraft continues flying because the demand from ground forces for close air support is constant, and there is currently nothing to replace the Su-27 in this role. F-16. The transfer of the F-16 was the most debated aviation decision of the entire war. The Netherlands, Denmark, Belgium, and Norway confirmed the delivery of over 60 aircraft. The jet reaches speeds of up to 2,120 kilometers per hour with a combat radius of approximately 550 kilometers. The key difference from everything previously in Ukrainian service is the AIM-120 AMRAAM missile, capable of engaging targets beyond visual range at distances of up to 100 kilometers. This means that Ukrainian pilot now has the ability to attack an enemy aircraft without entering its engagement envelope, a fundamental shift in air combat tactics. Beyond that, the F-16 is the first platform in Ukrainian air forces fully compatible with the entire NATO weapons arsenal, meaning any new system allies agree to transfer in the future can be integrated without additional adaptation work. That long-term compatibility is the real value of this decision, not just the number of aircraft delivered. Mi-8. The Mi-8 and its upgraded version, the Mi-17, are the most numerous helicopter type in Ukrainian Army aviation, and effectively the backbone of all rotary wing logistics. The aircraft can carry up to 4,000 kilograms of cargo or up to 24 troops over distances of up to 950 kilometers. It is used for resupplying forward positions under fire, casualty evacuation, insertion and extraction of special operations groups, and delivering ammunition to places no other transport can reach. The United States and several other countries have transferred additional Mi-8s to Ukraine. The Mi-8 is not the hero of news reports, but it is what keeps everything functioning at the front line. Without it, the logistics simply stop. Mi-24. The Mi-24 is a combat helicopter developed in the 1970s and still one of the most recognizable in the world. Armed with a 12.7mm 4-barrel machine gun or 23mm cannon, Sturm and Ataka anti-tank missiles, and unguided S-8 rockets, its unique design feature is the ability to simultaneously transport up to 8 troops and conduct combat operations against ground targets. Tactically, this means the ability to deliver a group under the fire of the same aircraft without needing a separate escort. In Ukraine, the Mi-24 is actively used for supporting ground operations, striking enemy positions, and covering troop landings. Losses to man-portable air defense systems have been significant, but there is no alternative platform in Ukrainian aviation that combines these capabilities in one airframe. Bayraktar TB2. The Bayraktar TB2 is a Turkish medium-altitude, long-endurance strike drone capable of staying airborne for up to 27 hours and carrying 4 guided MAML or MAMC missiles. In the first weeks of the full-scale invasion, footage of Bayraktar strikes on Russian columns and armored vehicles spread around the world and formed the image of this drone as a decisive weapon. The real picture proved more complex. As Russia's air defense system developed and electronic warfare assets saturated the front, open combat sorties by the Bayraktar became significantly riskier, and tactics changed substantially. Nevertheless, its role in the critical early weeks when Ukraine was demonstrating to allies and to the world its ability to resist effectively is difficult to overstate. The Bayraktar won not so much battles as the information war, and at the start of the full-scale invasion, that mattered no less. Leleka 100. The Leleka 100 is a Ukrainian tactical reconnaissance drone produced by Devi-Ro, weighing just 3.5 kilograms with a range of up to 50 kilometers. Equipped with optical and thermal cameras, it is launched by hand in a matter of minutes without any specialized equipment. Its primary task is to hover over enemy positions, transmit target coordinates to artillery, and monitor strike results in real time. Without such a drone, artillery is effectively firing blind. With it, accuracy improves dramatically. The Leleka is one of the most widespread tactical drones in the Ukrainian army, and this is no accident. Ease of deployment and maintenance in field conditions proved more important than any sophisticated technical specification. The Fury is a Ukrainian tactical reconnaissance drone produced by Athlon Avia, weighing 5.5 kilograms with a range of up to 50 kilometers and endurance of up to 3 hours. Equipped with day and night cameras, it launches from the hand without a runway or maintenance equipment. Used by artillery and infantry units for reconnaissance, detecting enemy movements, and monitoring strike results. The mass employment of systems this simple has effectively denied the enemy the ability to move equipment and personnel without consequence, even in relatively protected areas, which is one of the most important tactical consequences of this war. FPV drones are commercial quadcopters adapted for combat use, costing a few $100s each. The operator controls the aircraft through video goggles, seeing the camera feed in real time, which provides accuracy down to the level of an individual soldier or piece of equipment. Range reaches up to 10 kilometers. Ukrainian units produce and employ tens of thousands of these drones every month in garages, workshops, and industrial facilities simultaneously. No military doctrine in the world anticipated the mass use of civilian systems in this role and at this scale. FPV drones have made it effectively impossible for the enemy to move equipment and personnel openly within reach of the opposing force at virtually any time of day. This is a fundamental change in ground combat tactics, comparable in its impact to the introduction of the machine gun 100 years ago. The Sea Baby is a Ukrainian surface unmanned system developed by the Security Service of Ukraine for strikes against naval targets and coastal infrastructure. The vessel carries up to 850 kilograms of explosives, operates at ranges of up to 1,000 kilometers, and reaches speeds of up to 80 kilometers per hour. Strikes against ships of Russia's Black Sea Fleet, the Kerch Bridge, and oil infrastructure in Crimea forced the Russian fleet to substantially change its basing and patrol tactics, effectively withdrawing from the northwestern part of the Black Sea. This is a strategic result achieved with a relatively simple and inexpensive system against a significantly more protected and costly adversary. The Sea Baby demonstrated clearly that an asymmetric response can be more effective than direct confrontation. From the MiG-29 inherited from the Soviet Army to the FPV drone assembled in a volunteer's workshop, from the Storm Shadow integrated onto the Su-27 without any documentation, to the Sea Baby that changed Russian fleet tactics in the Black Sea. Ukrainian aviation has undergone a transformation that had no parallel in history, not because anyone planned it that way, but because there was no other choice. And that is exactly why it keeps flying. Like and subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Write in the comments, which aviation system do you think has had the greatest impact on the course of the war?